Hi, Miss Anggun.
Yes, Professor.
Can I later on when I doing my presentation, I share screen myself?
Yeah, sure. You can share it yourself.
Okay, and then another request, can I end the session 10 minutes early because I have Senate meeting at 12 o'clock sharp. So I need to leave my office maybe 10 minutes early. Is that okay?
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
you.
Thanks. Can I try to share screen now and see whether is that viewable?
Sure. You can start sharing screen.
Okay. Have you allowed me to share screen?
Wait.
I think you have to allow me to share the screen.
Ibu Dwi, Valerie. Okay. You can share. You may share it.
Okay. Still your screen, I think.
Wait, let me check it first.
Can you share it right now, Professor?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'll stop
So,
sharing.
Professor, yeah, Professor Veronica, we are waiting for our dean to join, so we can start on to join our.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Vero. How are you?
Hey,
Hi, Windu. How are you?
Fine.
Dr. Windu.
Nice to meet you again.
Yeah, nice to meet you again.
Yes.
Are you working in the university or still work from home?
Still from home.
Oh, okay,
Now.
okay, okay.
Today.
Oh, okay. But Malaysia has opened already. I think they allowed the foreigner to come into Malaysia. Our border has opened.
Oh.
All right. First, am I audible?
Assalamualaikum, Bu Anggun.
Waalaikumsalam, Ibu Misna. Valerie,
Dr. Vero sudah hadir?
Ya, sudah hadir, Bu.
Dr. Vero
Good
sudah
morning,
hadir.
Dr. Vero.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, Dr. Misna.
Dr.
How are
Vero.
you?
I'm fine. And you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks for inviting me to have a session with you all today.
Okay. Kita mulai, Bu. Bu Tini ya, Bu Anggun. Silakan.
Boleh. Valerie, you may start now, Valerie.
Thank you. All right. First, am I audible? Once again?
Yes. We can
All
hear.
right, thank you. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the International Guest Lecture on Environmental Health with our topic, Air Pollution Exposures and Respiratory Disease. It is incredibly great to see all participants are enthusiastic for this event. My name is Valeria Anugrahning Tias Gunawan. I am a student of Environmental Health Program in Sriwijaya University, and it is my pleasure to have the chance to warmly welcome all of you and be the master of ceremony for this event. Let me welcome the Honorable Dean, Faculty of Public Health in Sriwijaya University, Dr. Ms. Naniati, SKM MKM. Good morning, ma'am. The Honorable Vice Dean of Public Health Faculty, Professor Dr. Yuanita Windusari, SSE MSE. Good morning, ma'am. The Honorable Head of Department of Environmental Health in Sriwijaya University, Ms. Elvi Sunarsih, SKM NKES. Good morning, Miss. The Honorable our guest lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Veronica Chua, Bachelor of Science, Master of Science, Master of Education MGT, PhD from Faculty of Health Science of Masa University. Good day, Professor. Welcome to our event. All right. And all respectful lecturers, staff, and distinguished guests. Once again, welcome everyone. I'm quite sure you all wondering what we're going to do today. So I'm going to explain our agenda for today. First things first, there will be a welcome address from the Dean of Public Health Faculty of Sriwijaya University. Next, we will do some documentation. Then we will continue to our main session that will be delivered by our incredible guest lecturer. Then we'll move on to the discussion session. And lastly, the closing. Before we start this guest lecture, it is my pleasure to invite our Dean, the Dean of Public Health Faculty, to deliver her welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Ms. Naniati.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Good morning, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
All of us, the Honorable Head of Study Program, Environmental. Sorry.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I'm sorry. Saya ulangi. The Honorable Head of Study Program Environmental Health in Faculty of Public Health Sriwijaya University, Mrs. Elvi Sunarsih MKes, and the Department Secretary, Mrs. Dwi Septianwati MKM, and all of lecturer and staff in this event, and all of for all students here. We are proud of you. And the Honorable Special for Dr. Veronica Chua, PhD, as Dean Health Science Masa University. How are you, Dr. Vero? Apa kabar?
Thank you. Kabar
nice
baik.
to meet you here, even totally virtually. A great moment we can invite you as a lecturer from Masa University. And welcome to Public Health Faculty Sriwijaya University. I hope we will meet face to face in the future, because when you in Palembang, our dean was Mr. Iwan Setiabudi, right?
Yes, betul.
Yes. Hopefully, if COVID is gone later and we have free time, so we think we will visit to Masa University.
Sure.
First of all, let us express our praise and gratitude of Allah, because we have been given the blessing of healthy and safety, so that we can meet in this virtual room in good healthy and without the slightly obstacle. Hopefully, for our friend and family who are sick can be given healthy. Alhamdulillah, in this sunny morning, we can attend the event International Guest Lecture on Environmental Health with topic of air pollution exposure and respiratory disease with Dr. Vera. This event organized by Department of Environmental Health Sriwijaya University, and this topic certainly is very interesting because the Palembang is one of the city in the South Sumatra province with every year often experience smoke, which may be spread to Malaysia. So it was reported to the Indonesian export some smoke to Malaysia. I'm sorry for this one. Maybe the smoke are from South Sumatra coming to Kuala Lumpur, or maybe from other city in Sumatra Island. We don't know, but it's very interesting. The smoke or smoke atau kabut asap is one of the health problems, yeah, in Indonesia or in South Sumatra province. Air pollution is one of the biggest environmental problems that have a significant impact on human health. Exposure to air pollution is known to increase the risk of various diseases in the lungs, ranging from respiratory infection, pneumonia, bronchitis, or maybe cancer. So this topic, this event is very interesting. We study with the right speaker, Dr. Vero from Mahsa University. I hope the all of the students in the Zoom meeting can listen to the knowledge from Dr. Vero presentation, and we'll discuss about this. So maybe I think enough for the opening speech as well. What I can say on this evening and this moment, I open this event international guest lecture with say Basmala, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And thank you for all participants for coming on and join in this evening. Selamat mengikuti event ini. And then thank you again to Dr. Vero for your attending and for the knowledge that you will give to our student. And I'm sorry I can join the event until finish because this morning there was 2 events organized by the Research University Institute, the Sriwijaya University with Dr. Hamzah Hasim, and then other program with director. I hope this event will run smoothly. Thank you and selamat menikmati melanjutkan acara seminar ini, kegiatan kuliah tamu ini. And wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for the insightful speech, Maya. For all participants, you may open your camera if it's possible. Thank you, because we are going to do a documentation. All right. Before we start this session, let's take some pictures first for our documentation on this event. Is the operator ready to take the pictures of us?
I'm ready.
All right, thank you. So this is the first slide, Nadia. Nadia, hello?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to count, all right? Okay. This is the first slide. 1, 2, 3. Finish, Nadia?
Yeah, finish.
All right, thank you. The second slide. 1, 2, 3. Finish?
Finish.
How many slides are there? Nadia, I'm sorry.
12.
12, all right, thank you. All right, this is the third slide. 1, 2, 3. The fourth slide. 1, 2, 3. The fifth slide. 1, 2, 3. The sixth slide. 1, 2, 3. The seventh slide. 1, 2, 3. The eighth slide. 1, 2, 3. The ninth slide. 1, 2, 3. The 10th slide. 1, 2, 3. The 11th slide. 1, 2, 3. And then the last slide. 1, 2, 3. All right, finish, Nadia?
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for documenting our event today. So without any further ado, I'm sure all of you are excited for our main session, and the session will be moderated by our amazing lecturer from Public Health Faculty of Sriwijaya University. More about our moderator for today's session, and I will read you the background of her. Okay, so her name is Yustini Ardila, SKMM Master of Public Health. Right now, her occupation is a lecturer of Department of Environmental Health of Faculty of Public Health in Sriwijaya University. And her research interest is communicable disease, sanitation, and air pollution. And her last education background, she is a postgraduate program of Public Health Faculty in Gajah Mada University, Yogyakarta. All right, that's our moderator in brief. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Yustini Ardila. Good morning, Miss.
Good morning.
Yay. All right.
Am I clear?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you very much for the Master of Ceremony, Valerie. Okay. Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody.
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning, Ma'am.
Good morning, Miss Yustini.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, again, welcome to International Guest Lecture organized by Department of Environmental of Public Health, Faculty of Universitas Sriwijaya, in collaboration with Faculty of Health Science, Masa University. Everybody, World Health Organization recorded that 7 million were killed because of pollution. So how global concern in air pollution, what is air pollution and respiratory health, and how to address air pollution and health impact, it will be discussed in this lecturing. This lecturing will have two sessions. First session will be presentations of material by our guest lecturer, and the second session will be question and answer. For those who have questions, you can put your question on chat box, or you can interactively question with our guest lecturer. During this lecturing, please, you are pleased to mute the microphone. Okay, everybody, we already have our guest lecturer. She is Associate Professor Dr. Veronica Chua. Let me greet our guest lecturer. Hello, Dr. Veronica. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Welcome to Palembang again. I remember that this is the second one. The first one is before pandemic, right?
Yes, correct.
Yes, before pandemic, you visited Palembang, and it's the second moment with the virtual. Like the dean said that maybe in another time we will meet face to you again, right?
Sure.
Okay, everybody. Before we listen Dr. Veronica material, let me read the curriculum vitae first. Associate Professor Dr. Veronica graduated with bachelor degree in environmental and occupational health from the Medical and Health Science Faculty of University Putra, Malaysia, or we call UPM. She went on to complete her master in environmental technology management from the engineering faculty of UPM in 2008. Dr. Veronica has over 15 years experience as an academician and education administrator in a number of higher education institutions. She is much a passionate learner as she is a passionate teacher. She wants to complete her PhD in environmental health from UPM with perfect GPA 4.0. Okay. And then completed her second master degree in educational management from the prestigious University Malaya. Dr. Veronica has received several government research grants for her research works over the environmental monitoring and management and communicable disease awareness and prevention. Dr. Veronica would work together relevant Malaysian agencies to develop a guideline for IAQ forums and is frequently invited as a speaker at international conference. The most recent being at the 4th International Conference on Food, Nutrition and Health Center of Excellence, Science and Technology Health Polytechnic of Malang, currently on 14 and 15 September, right?
Yes, correct.
Dr. Veronica has authored a number of books and published numerous articles in Scopus and ISI's Index Journal. She is also the proud recipient of the Best Paper Award at an international conference in 2014. She is a professional trainer certified by HRDF under the Ministry of Human Resources Malaysia and has conducted numerous training for environmental health and occupational safety health professional in the region. She was a registered safety and health official with Department of Safety and Health Malaysia. She is associate member of the Malaysian Society of Environmental Health. Okay, our incredible guest lecturer, Associate Professor Dr. Veronica, is currently the Senior Director Academic of Masa University and the Dean of the Faculty of Health Science at Masa University, Malaysia. So everybody, please welcome our guest lecturer, Dr. Veronica. This is your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Yustini. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to the Dean, Dr. Misna, the Dean of the Faculty of Public Health of Universitas Sriwijaya, and also to the lecturers who are present here today, the MC, and also students all. I hope you all are well and safe. And to Dr. Misna, yes, I would like also to represent Masa University to invite your good self and your lecturers when the travel ban are lifted from Indonesia. Maybe you can come over to Masa University to visit us, to visit our campus, and to have a better understanding between both parties in terms of our matching grant, which we are currently ongoing. I think it's just about to start back the data collection because previously we have been put on hold due to all the travel restriction from our within Malaysia itself, I think within Indonesia as well. So it is hoped that by the grace of God, that the pandemic will leave us very soon and the condition in Indonesia will improve much better than the current situation. And we hope to meet each other face to face in a very soon near future.
Okay. Dr. Peru.
Thank you. So I will go on to start with sharing my slide for the presentation today, which is regarding the air pollution and the health, respiratory health among people. Okay, can I share screen?
Yes, please.
Can you see the screen now?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction, and also thank you to Universitas Sriwijaya for inviting me to be the guest lecturer in your International Guest Lecture Series. And the topic that I'm going to discuss and to share with everyone here today is on air pollution and respiratory diseases. As you can see here, my presentation are mainly comprises of 5 areas. The first one is why are we concerned about air pollution? just like Dr. Misna has mentioned, air pollution is one of the constant environmental health issues to Indonesia. So later on in my slide, you can see that there are some statistic data to show that how severe the air pollution it is right now in terms of globally and also in Indonesia itself. And then we will look into what are those pollutants, air pollutants that we need to be aware of. And because of these topics that I'm going to discuss is actually part of your epidemiology subject. So I did put in a little bit of introduction on the types of air pollution research studies, and followed by what are those impacts towards the respiratory health among the people. And lastly, how do we compact or address the air pollution and the health impacts towards the population? Okay, so first of all, why is it we are talking about air pollution as one of the global concern? As you can see here in this slide, the air pollution actually kills an estimated of 7 million of people worldwide every year. If you look at this, this is only the direct attributable death that caused by air pollution. Of course, there is another factors that is indirectly attributed to the death of people among around the world, which we call it as an indirect attributable factors, which is the confounding factors. One of the example is that, like, for those who are having asthma, which is the confounding factors, where the health impact that they experience as compared to a normal person, it may be more severe when this air pollution happens. So that is for example, when the air pollution increases, the number of deaths among people who are suffered from asthma is actually statistically increased. And of course, by looking at this world map here, you can see among all the countries in the world, China and Indonesia are the top two countries which are suffering from air pollution, and this air pollution is one of their major death that is attributed to the death of their population in the country. When we zoom in, if you can see, maybe later on, I think the organizer will share these slides with the student who attended this session here. If you zoom in and see clearly, you can see in the Southeast Asia, if you notice among the Indonesia, the country of Indonesia, you can see the color is slightly darker compared to other Southeast Asia country. So why is this happen? Later on from the following slide, you will be able to see actually apart from China, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, Indonesia is the 5th country that is top in the list of air pollution as compared to other country itself. So let's look at how severe it is. As all of us know, air pollution is something that is cannot be avoided, and it is persistent in happening in every part of the world. So what happened is that WHO has a guideline that actually determine on what are the exposure limit are actually acceptable. And of course, despite the guideline given by WHO, they are out 9 out of 10 people that are actually on daily basis are breathing in the air that is exceeding these WHO guideline limits. As you can see here, this data here, I'm actually got it from WHO, where you can see the total number of death that is due to the ambient air pollution in this much of number. And out of this, the most common condition is actually a cardiorespiratory diseases that one of the common diseases that is happened due to the air pollution. Among that, we can see some of the example here, like lower respiratory infection, lower respiratory infections such as pneumonia. Just now, Dr. Misna has mentioned as well, pneumonia that happened among the population, and followed by a trachea, bronchus, or lung cancer. And this example of this, it might be a bronchitis that happened among the population that is exposed to a high level of air pollutants, and followed by ischemic heart disease. This ischemic heart disease is actually quite similar to coronary heart disease, where it is a condition where the lung did not get enough oxygen. So what happened is that this condition can be a chronic condition, which is a chronically hypoxia, which the people are lack of oxygen in their lung, in the blood cells. So what happens is that these people, they do not have any reserve oxygen capacity in their lung. So what happens is that when they carry out a certain activities or in their daily work, when they require them to work extra, they will start feeling or experiencing out of breath, that kind of condition. And of course, nonetheless, stroke also is one of the major health impact from air pollution, and followed by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. For this chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, there are two conditions. One of it, two examples that I can share with all the participants here today. The hypoxia condition, where we have a lower level of oxygen inside our blood cell. And there's another condition which is called as a hypercapnia, where these conditions are actually happening due to the high level of carbon dioxide inside the blood cell of the body. And the lung, under this condition, the lung are unable to remove the CO2, which is the carbon dioxide in the blood cell itself, and it leads to a condition where we commonly known as a respiratory acidosis among the population. So why Indonesia currently are facing more? I wouldn't say currently. It will have been. It actually happened 5-10 years back, where the Indonesia's worsening air quality actually have impact the life expectancy. As you can see from this slide here, the indoor air quality the air quality life index, the AQLI, is actually air quality that have been linked to life expectancy based on research and statistic-based analysis, where according to the research and also statistic analysis, it is found the average of the Indonesian, averagely, they can expect to have lost their life of 1.2 years of their life expectancy at the current pollution level, where this, according to the AQLI, because of the air quality, have failed to meet the WHO guideline, especially the concentration of particulate matter less than 2.5 micrometer in diameters. Okay, and if you look at it in Jakarta itself, the population in Jakarta are actually expected to lose 2.3 years, almost double of what the normal Indonesian are facing, which is a double of the loss of life expectancy if the existing air pollution level are sustained over their lifetime. And of course, more severely, if you look at it, the major contributor to this air pollution in Indonesia are mostly from motor vehicle. And from the research, it is actually shown that the motor vehicle actually has contributed to 31.5% of the total PM 2.5 concentration in the Jakarta city itself. And out of this air pollutants, 70% are actually PM10. Later on, we'll look into what is PM2.5, what is PM10. That I would like to highlight here is that throughout the years, during the early 90s, what happened is that Indonesia was known as one of the clean countries in the world. But however, in the late 90s, something that had happened that causes Indonesia become one of the 20 most polluted countries in the world, as particulate air pollution concentration increased up to 171%. So here we can see is that what is the reason that causes the increase of this the decrease of air quality in Indonesia itself. One of it is is due to intense fires. If you see, I think most of the Indonesians will know better than me that open burning and also the forest cleaning for plantation purpose is actually a big issue that is faced by Indonesia. Like Dr. Misna just now mentioned that the Indonesia actually has transported their haze to Malaysia. But however, when this issue, which is the forest cleaning, happened in Indonesia, mainly when the investigation happened among the enforcement party in Indonesia, is that some of the big companies that are actually involved in this are actually originated from Malaysia, which is a Malaysia company, which of course, at the end of the day, is this controllable? That means, can we reduce the forest cleaning activity in Indonesia itself? Of course, yes, there is a possibility. Maybe we can look at the enforcement in terms of regulation and how strict the enforcement it is for us to look into this forest cleaning activities. And of course, overall, I would say quite seriously that you can see the figure here. Averagely, Indonesia population will lose about 309 million life years due to the particulate pollution if this does not improve in the near future. If you look at it, just as I have mentioned, Indonesia was the top 5 countries which is facing the air pollution behind India, China, Bangladesh, and also Pakistan. I think this is one of the indication that something really serious for Indonesia government to look into, and also for the researcher, students, lecturers to look into what are the things that we can do to actually contribute to the awareness among the public and also to the government in terms of controlling these air pollutants emission in the ambient environment and also indoor activities. Okay, so if you can see here, this graph here, it shows that actually Palembang is one of the most polluted or actually the concentration of the air pollutants are much more higher as compared to Jakarta. So I have visited Palembang before. My first impression of the Palembang city was it was such a clean city when I was there. It was to my surprise to notice that. However, air pollution is still one of the major environmental issues that is faced by the government, which we still need to work hard in terms of fighting this condition. Okay, so just now I have keep talking about air pollutants. So what is air pollutant? What is air pollution? Air pollution is actually a condition where there is an introduction of particulates or biological molecules or any other harmful gases into the atmosphere, which it can cause diseases or death to humans. And it also can cause damage to other living organisms such as animals and food crops as well. And of course, it also bring the negative impact to the natural or built environment of where people are living. Okay, air pollution, it can be separated into 2 categories. One is the ambient air pollution. Another one is the indoor air pollution. Ambient air pollution, mostly is related to impacts or harmful to the natural environment on where humans are living at. Whereas for indoor air pollution, it is mainly contributed by indoor activities it is mainly contributed by human indoor activities and also the material that we can find in indoor environment. Example of the indoor activities which can create air pollution, such as cooking and also cleaning activities. These cleaning activities actually, like for example, some of the agent that we use, it produces aerosol, and this aerosol indirectly contributed to indoor air pollutants concentration as well. Whereas for items that can be found in indoor, materials that can be found in indoor, such as furniture, especially the new furniture, it is one of the major source of VOC, indoor VOC. So I believe maybe your lecturers or after this session, students can actually read a little bit more about VOC emission from indoor, which is one of the major issues, and there is a lot of scientists have actually done their research into this area. Okay. Now, first of all, we look at the outdoor air pollution. From this picture here, it clearly illustrates what are the possible indoor air pollutant that can originated from, such as from a natural environment, such as lightning. Actually, those days when lightning happened, it one of the cause for the wildfire that happened in the natural environment. And of course, in Indonesia, you have volcanoes. Okay, and also just now we have mentioned about the cleaning of the forest. These are all the source of ambient air pollutants or outdoor air pollution, which it can lead to that. And another source of outdoor air pollution, it comes from the livestock, which is the agriculture and also farming. I would like to stress on this livestock. You might think why livestock is related to air pollution. To many of you, you might not know. The farm that is keeping the cow, the beef that we are eating, actually this is one of the major contributor to air pollution. The livestock that we kept, which is the cow, they releases a huge amount of methane, and this methane is one of the major contributor to greenhouse effects that is happening to every one of us. That's why you see in some of the Western country, there are a group of people, environmentalists, that actually encourage people to change their diet instead of taking too much of beef. The example, you might heard of a vegan, people who are under vegan diet, which they don't eat meat, they don't eat especially from beef, all that. It is with the objective or with the hope that due to the reduction of beef consumption, it might actually help to reduce the farming of cow and also reduces the methane that is being releases to the environment. Okay, so that is something which I think many people might not aware of this. And another outdoor source, it can come from a stationary source, which is mainly from the industry, the power plants, sewage treatment plant. And of course, the mobile source will be from our mobile vehicles, trucks, buses, motorcycles, aeroplanes. All these are the major sources of outdoor air pollution. Whereas for indoor air pollution, you can see from this picture here, there are actually many, which I hope that later on students who are in this session, you can read through and also find more details about it. I just would like to highlight several. For example, indoor smoking, which is a tobacco smoke, it contributed to indoor air pollution. Gasoline that's being used in the house, the furniture, the carpets, and also the foam insulation, and also the press wood that is being used. It is known to be one of the major contributors to formaldehyde pollution in the indoor environment. So that are one of the common indoor air pollution source. But looking at this picture here, you can see the old paint. If you notice this old paint, this, I believe in nowadays, there's no more this issue, because previously the paint that we use are actually contain lead. But because of the awareness of knowing the health implication from lead exposure, what people have done is that majority of the country, the paint that they use for painting the building, it is without lead. That means the paint that is produced is without lead contained inside. So that is one of the way where the initiative or the strategies that majority of the country have done to eliminate these air pollutants. And another one that I would like to highlight is here. You can see the chlorine treated water with the hot shower, which is the PVC pipe that we use to channel the water into our household usage. The PVC pipe can be used for a normal cold water in a normal temperature, but government has actually enforced that, majority of the government in the worldwide, they have actually enforced that pipe water that used to channel hot water, it has to be, example, change it to a copper pipe, which can stand the heat of the water. So it reduces the emission of the chloroform into the environment, into the indoor environment. So just now we were talking about the sources of indoor air pollutants. Now we look at what actually indoor air pollutant is. According to the Clean Air Act from Environmental Protection Agency under US, it actually set out 6 categories of, or 6 criteria of air pollutants, which is well known and is to say or to evidence that they are having the most significant in terms of health outcomes, which these 6 criteria of air pollutants include carbon monoxide, lead, ground level ozone, particulate matter, nitrogen dioxide, and also sulfur dioxide. Same goes to Malaysia and also Indonesia. These 6 criteria are the 6 main major air pollutants that said to be most significant in terms of health outcomes. In terms of the types of air pollution and health studies, which I have mentioned just now, because of this topic actually originated from the subject of epidemiology that the students from Unsri are going through studying. So I would like to introduce a little bit regarding the types of research that people usually involve in when we talk about research in related to air pollution. One of it is ecologic studies. Ecologic study, it actually examines the association between the exposure rates and also the disease rate in a group over time. Okay, and we do have time series studies as well. Time series study is actually analyzing a series of data points that results from a repeated measurement over time. That means the measurement is being taken throughout a period of time. And a cohort study, I'm sure students will know that cohort study actually involves a study in a particular group of individuals, where we study the health status of this cohort of people, and we try to find out the health status of these people. Was it contributed, or was it due to this exposure to the environment? So these are the 3 major air pollution studies that category that we can see commonly happen. And the next thing that I would like to share is that in the early years, that means during the early stage of the research, where people realize that there are this air pollution happen quite rampant in all different countries, we have these early studies that actually involve where we can see an example here, the London fog episode. What happened is that the research has conducted during a severe incident at a certain period interval, where you see in this study here, what they do is that the researchers are actually trying to get the data of weekly mortality among the population in London during this period of time. They're trying to link this weekly mortality to the sulfur dioxide concentration in London during this period of time. So this is an example of actually a time series study. And in the modern research, modern studies, what we have done is that the researchers are actually right now involving using the lab sampling equipment, and also they're using epidemiologic methods to determine the personal exposure level and also to monitor the health impacts. That means an instrument is being used to measure the exposure level. And at the same time, when the measurement is made, they are also monitoring the health effect of the exposure among the population. So they're trying to draw a causation model to show that you're exposed to certain thing in a high level, it leads to what kind of health impact. So later on, we can see some example of this. Okay, lately, what is happening is that the researcher right now are capable of doing research at any time, and they are linking the research findings with everything together. That means a particular, like for example, measuring the particulate matter in Indonesia. So researchers are also measuring in Malaysia, in other countries, and then they join all this data together to come up with a conclusion, to draw a understanding among the association between an exposure and also the health outcome of a particular condition. Okay, there were multiple research that has been done previously, where it actually show that the air pollution causes or is associated with adverse health impact, including the increase of mortality. Besides increase of mortality in the population, one thing that we should not forget is that the poor air quality also contributed to decrease quality of life of the people who are living in the environment. I think when we talk about quality of life, when, for example, over here you can see like exacerbation of asthma, lung cancer, chronic respiratory disease, all this actually causing human being life quality have been disturbed and is no more living like a normal healthy person. So another thing that I would like to point out is that actually besides mortality, besides decrease in life quality of life, it also contribute to this developmental issues. For example, if you can see here, the low birth weight pregnancy, reduce of lung function in children, or pneumonia happen more commonly in young children. These are actually developmental issues that is being faced by a particular population that are exposed to a high concentration of air pollutant. So those are the things that we are looking at. And of course, there are many researchers have done many things. One of the research that I focused in was related to children respiratory health for school indoor air quality. If you go and Google, you might see quite a lot of publication on this, which are done by different researchers. Okay, so just now I introduced there are several categories of research related to air pollution. There are also another categories that we categorize the air pollution study, which it divided into two types. One is acute, another one is chronic. Acute is we are looking into a short-term air pollution exposure, which it involves maybe several hours, days, or weeks. And there are also a long-term study which look into long-term air pollution exposure, which is over months, over years, or over a decade and a lifetime. And if you look at here, there are some health condition which is related to a chronic exposure, example like asthma, COPD, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, stroke, and cancer, and premature. These are the examples. We'll look into this a little bit more detail according to the types of air pollutants that we have. Okay, just now I have talked about the time series. This is the London Fog episode is one of the example of a time series studies. For a long-term studies, we can see ecological studies, case control studies, cross-sectional studies, and also cohort study belongs to a long-term studies where you follow a particular group of population over a period of time to see the health impact of it. Okay, and just to share a little bit with students who are here today, which in the future or even now, for the past 2 years during the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, what happened is that it is noticed that quite a lot of research activities are actually putting on hold. If you look into, like, when you do research, you try to search for some literature, the scientific journal that have done by a previous researcher, you will find that in 2020 up to 2021, it is a significant decrease on the research publication that is being produced by researchers worldwide, mainly due to this pandemic. But in this upcoming, if God willing, research activities can be back to on track. The students and also lecturers who are here today, maybe you can look into, despite instead of looking at the exposure, we should focus on a little bit more on outdoor measures versus actual human exposure. That means we measure, but we say that these people are exposed to this much of outdoor air pollutant. But what is the actual human exposure level? It is something that we should study more detail in it. And also, exposure of susceptible subpopulation to toxic PM components. This is something that it has not been studied extensively yet. Another one would be like, for example, characterization of emission sources of these air pollutants, or maybe we can look into air quality model development and status, a testing instrument, and also assessment of hazardous particulate matter components. Or another one we can actually focus into dosimetry. That means the deposition and the fate of the particle when it enters into our respiratory tract, where it deposited. That is very important. Another thing that we can look into also is combined effects of PM and also gases core pollutants. That means the combination of exposure to particulate matter and also gases core pollutants that is exposed, that is happening in our surrounding environment. And of course, more focus should be given to susceptible subpopulation, and also study about the mechanism of the injuries, and also how do we analyze and measure the particular air pollutant in more more precisely. These are the areas that if let's say you're interested in air pollution, these are the areas where students actually can venture into. Okay, so next we are going into look into what is air pollution and respiratory health. Now, air pollution is something that's very unique because it actually affects a particular human being from the time they were someone intrauterine, that means when they are during pregnancy time, up to the day, up to the time that they die. These air pollutants are actually capable of affecting the human being. That means in every single stage of their lifetime, it actually possibly being affected by the air pollutants. And this is just now I have mentioned a little bit. Air pollution are mainly negatively impact on our respiratory system, which it can cause airway irritation, inflammation, asthma, COPD, which I've introduced just now. And it also affecting cardiovascular system, which it can cause heart diseases among the population. Lately, something that I would like to highlight is that lately it has found that this air pollution are actually related to cataracts, low birth weight, and also nasopharyngeal and laryngeal cancer, which lately research has discovered. And of course, another items here that you can see, the decreased cognitive ability. This is something that I would like to stress, that currently among the researchers, these are one of the active research that is actively being studied by the researcher, especially in verbal and mathematic tests among the studied population, where they are linking air pollution to decrease cognitive ability. This is something very interesting for us to look into. And there is also research show that there is a significant association between air pollution and also dementia that is happening among the people. One of the examples that I would like to share with you here is that you can see here there are two graphs. This research is being done in America, which it shows the concentration of nitrogen dioxide and also PM 2.5. These two has been significantly impacting the lung function of the children that is involved in this research. If you see here, as the concentration of the nitrogen dioxide and also PM 2.5 decreases, the concentration decreases, the lung function are actually increased. In another word, that means the lung function are better in the population which are exposed lesser to the high concentration of nitrogen dioxide and also PM 2.5. Okay, and just now we have talked about so many times what is particulate matter, what is PM 10, PM 2.5. Here we can see actually particulate matter are wide variety of airborne material, where it actually consists of material that is exposed or emitted directly into the air, either from the transformation of gases pollutant. And these particles actually, besides from that, it can also come from a natural sources such as a volcanic eruption, and also human activities such as burning of the fossil fuel, incinerating the waste, and also smelting of metals. These are the example of the human activities that can actually contribute to a high concentration of airborne particulate matter. So in this picture here, you can see there are actually some activities that is happening in Indonesia, in Malaysia as well, which contributed to the high level of PM in the air surrounding where people are living. Okay, example like sea salt, soil dust, volcanic particles, smoke from the forest fires are accounted for the particulate emission in every year to those countries that is involved. Okay, and here, just want to share a little bit on the what is actually the size of, we talk about PM 2.5 and PM 10. If you look at this picture here, this gray color long is actually a hair of a human being, which the diameter of this human hair are approximately 50 to 70 micrometer in diameter. Okay, and if you look at PM10, PM10 are actually, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 of this PM10 is actually forming the diameter of our human hair. And PM 2.5 is even much smaller in size. You can see from here. Why is it the size that I keep on stressing on in this presentation is that size really is important, impacting the health outcome of those who are exposed to particulate matter. So what are those sources from that we can see is contributed to the particulate matter pollution or high concentration? One of it is wood burning stove. I think this is one of the problem that happened to Indonesia those days previously, but now in Indonesia, the household that is using wood to burn for cooking, wood fire or even charcoal for cooking are reducing. So it is no more major contributing sources towards the high particulate matter. In fact, it has moved towards a power plant, forest fires, heavy duty diesel engine, and also the petrol that's being used, used to move around by the vehicle, and also from natural resources. And in construction site, the non-road vehicles are contributing. Of course, another one is the industrial sources of emission of particulate matter. Okay, so you see here, we talk about PM 2.5, PM 10. In particulate matter, we generally categorize them into two categories. One is called as inhalable coarse particles. Another one is a fine particles. Inhalable coarse particles are actually found near roadways and also dusty industry. And these particles are larger than 2.5 micrometer, but smaller than 10 micrometers. Whereas for fine particles, it is found in smoke or haze, the haze that is previously happening, and the size are 2.5 micrometer in diameter or smaller. And these particles are more severe as compared to PM10 because it can penetrate deeper into the lung structure of a human being. Okay, so you see here, size is definitely very important to the behavior of PM in the atmosphere and also human body. And it determines the entry and also absorption potential for particles in the lung. For example, particles that is more than 10 micrometer, they are usually, when it inhaled, they are usually trapped in the nose and throat of a human being. It never reached the lungs of a human being. Therefore, particles 10 micrometer in diameter or less are actually more concerned as compared to particle more than 10 micrometer because it can actually move deeper as compared to 10 microparticulate matter. So you can see here the particles between 5 to 10 micrometer, they are commonly or usually removed by the physical processes in the throat that bring them out to clear it from our airway, whereas the particles less than 5 micrometer, it can reach our bronchial tubes and it can even go in deeper into the deeper portion of our lung. Of course, the deeper it goes, the severe the health impact it is from these air particles. This is another diagram to show the particle size into which area, which extent that it can deposit into our respiratory tract. Okay. It is also well known that the impact between the PM10 exposure and also the health diseases that is happening among the people. That you can see here, it is well known that the following theories, for example, like PM leads to lung irritation, which leads to increase of permeability in the lung tissue. Particulate matter increases susceptibility to viral and bacterial pathogens. PM also aggravates the severity of chronic lung disease. PM causes inflammation of lung tissues, resulting in the release of chemicals that impact in the heart function. PM causes changes in blood chemistry that results in clot that can actually cause or lead to heart attacks, if you can see here. Okay. Now, one of the latest discovery are actually linking PM10, PM2.5 to hypertension. I think for those who are planning to do research in this area, maybe these are the area of studies that you can get yourself involved in terms of studies in the future. Okay, this is the ambient air and ischemic heart diseases or cerebral vascular diseases. You can see as the concentration increases, the risk of getting these are also significantly increased. There's another data here that I got from also a researcher previously that had done their research, where the number of deaths are contributed by causes of air pollution, for example, like lower respiratory infection, lung cancer, ischemic heart disease, cerebral heart disease, and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. You can see the number of deaths that is contributed due to this air pollution. Okay, next, we are looking into what is a ground level ozone. Ozone actually is a primary component of smoke, and ozone is not emitted directly into the air. It is actually formed when these nitrogen oxides, it can be nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and also VOC react with the presence of sunlight. That means with the sunlight present and these air pollutants such as nitrogen oxide and VOC, it can actually break them and to form an ozone, a ground level ozone. And this ground level ozone can be high either in urban or rural area. Okay. The main source of this ozone pollution are motor vehicles, power plants, the plants that generate energy, factories, and also the industrial activities that involve the fuel combustion process. Okay. Of course, the breathing zone ozone can actually trigger a variety of health problems, especially for children and also elderly. For a healthy young adult like us, you will not be impacted so obviously, or the impact of this ozone, breathing ozone will not be so obvious as compared to children and also elderly, where these people are usually, we name it as susceptible group, and also to all those people who are suffering from lung disease such as asthma. This will impact them significantly more badly as compared to those who are not. Okay, so these are some examples of what are the health impact. For example, it can cause eye, nose, and throat irritation, which can lead to coughing and difficulty in breathing, and it can trigger asthma attack. It can also affect the development of a children's lung and also cause a heart diseases, abnormal heart rhythm, or congestive heart failure, stroke, or premature death among the population. From the emission of, again, the motor vehicles, power plants, and also off-road equipment which used in the construction site. One thing we have to highlight here is that the longer exposure to elevated concentrations of nitrogen dioxide may contribute to the development of asthma and potentially increase the susceptibility to respiratory infections among the population. People with asthma as well as children and also elderly are generally the susceptible group that they are generally at greater risk of health effects from nitrogen dioxide exposure. Sulfur dioxide, it is a largest source. The sulfur dioxide is another air pollutants that we pay attention at, which is we have to know that the largest source of sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere are burning of fossil fuels by the power plant and also other industrial facilities. I believe there is this documentary have done in workers collecting the sulfur at the volcano site happen in these Indonesian workers, which you can see they are working there exposed to this without a proper PPE. So that is also another significantly high health impact pollution, which actually impacting the population, those who are working under that environment. Short term, of course, at a high concentration, the gases of SO2, which is the sulfur dioxide, can harm tree plants and also damage the foliage and decrease the growth and can contribute to acid rain. Whereas short-term exposure to sulfur dioxide, it actually bring a negative impact to human respiratory system and make the breathing difficult. This is more susceptible again to children, elderly, and those who are suffer from asthma. For carbon monoxide, as we know, carbon monoxide is being produced due to incomplete combustion, which the burning of the fossil fuel is not completely completed. So breathing air with a high concentration of carbon monoxide actually reduces the amount of oxygen that can be transported into the bloodstream. And because of that, it can lead to dizziness, confusion, unconsciousness, and also death among the people. Lead, again, I have stressed on the lead where there are many activities from the government and so on to state that the control of lead in terms of by using unleaded petrol, unleaded paint that is being used, those are the initiative that is being done among the government and also from the manufacturer. Okay, lead once it's taken into the body, it need to distribute throughout the body in the blood, and also it can accumulate in the bone. Depending on the level of exposure, lead can adversely affect the nervous system, kidney function, the immune system, reproductive, and also developmental system among the human being. And of course, lead exposure also affect the oxygen that carrying capacity of the blood. That means with the lead inside, the oxygen that's being carried by the blood is also significantly reduced. Okay. So despite all the health effects that we have seen just now, so what can we do to reduce the air pollution? How do we address this air pollution and also health impacts? Okay, so what we can see is that the best way of controlling air pollution is actually control the source of production, which elimination and prevention of the waste at the source is one of the main factors or main way that we should look into. In other words, pollution prevention is actually eliminating the waste before they are generated. Okay, here there are some example of Pollution Prevention Act, which I have taken from Indonesian government webpage. Currently in Indonesia, you have a Law of the Republic of Indonesia number 32, year 2009, which is a protection and management of environment. This is one of the act that is used to control the pollution in Indonesia itself. And in year 2018, Bandung municipality, which is the first Indonesian region, that they are the first one to issue a regional law that prohibiting the use of asbestos in commercial building, and also ban all the asbestos used in the construction time. Okay, And you do have, in Indonesia, they do have a Control of Air Pollution Act regulation, which is number 41/1999, and you have government regulations number 27, which is environmental permit. Okay. Okay, this diagram here, I am actually I took this diagram from one of the government agency, Indonesian government agency. By looking at this, you can actually show very clearly how do we control the air pollution in a country like Indonesia. Air pollution mainly control, they are actually looking to increase the air quality. How do they increase the air quality? They are divided into two mainstream. One is increase the air quality by controlling the stationary source. Another one, control the mobile source to increase the air quality. So under the stationary source, what government have done is that the government of Indonesia, they have fixed the emission quality standard, which just now I show you the ACTA, the act, the regulation that is being put in place, gazetted, is actually to control the emission quality of the pollutants into the environment. Indonesian government also have an act or regulation look into the clean fuel, which is the petrol that is used by all our motor vehicles are actually lead free and also benzene free. Okay, and we have a clean production in the processes of producing certain manufacturing products, and also using product that is more energy efficient. Okay, and another one, which I say the mobile sources, what Indonesian government has done is that they are controlling the emission of the vehicle in terms of the kilometer of the vehicle, how far they travel, what are the emission quality standard, what are the fuel quality that is allowed to use, and the number of vehicle to be used. For example, government are encouraging general public to use public transport instead of individual bringing the car on the road. Public transport is more encouraged to be used by the public community, especially I think in many of the cities within Indonesia, you face a terrible air traffic congestion on daily basis. So by looking at the amount of cars on the road, automatically we can link it to a number of emission, air pollutant emission from the car are quite bad in certain cities. And another way that we can see is that we lower the distance of traveling between these motor or mobile sources, which is you need to have a proper land use, proper planning, and also the compliance of all this transportasi that is being used in Indonesia itself. And another thing that maybe a university can contribute, which is monitor the ambient air quality, which research can be done to evaluate the status of the air pollutants in the air, and also to suggest what are those strategies that we can use to minimize the air pollutant to be emitted to the environment. Okay, next, I would like to share with you there are some rules and regulation that is being formed by the Indonesian government in terms of controlling the emission of this air pollutant. Example, for stationary source, the State Minister of Environment Decree number 13, and you have cement, control the cement industry, power plant, oil and gas, ceramic, and also fertilizer. Some of you might be familiar with this, the emission standard for cement industry in Indonesia. They are actually have a new regulation, the latest regulation, which stated the maximum limit for this cement industry to releases a certain amount of the air pollutants into the air. If you can see here, we have this total particles that is allowed, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide. So from here, you can see they are divided into three categories. The factory that's operated before 1990s, 31st of December, the permissible exposure level is in such. For those who are under category B and for those who are under category C, how much is that? If you can see, it is more or less standardized for the bottom three parameters, whereas for total particle, it had keep on reducing. That means the factory that operate lately, they are even governed by a tighter a maximum limit of this emission of the total particles into the air. And this is another one to show the comparison of regulation to control the urea production from primary reformer, piling, tower, granulation, gas turbine, waste heat boiler, all sources and power boiler. You can see this is some example. Okay, now as a conclusion, to control this air pollution, we can mainly use these four methods that I have suggested here. The first one is a product change, which is you change the design and producing a product that is less environmental impact, changing the composition of a product so that less hazardous chemical are used in and result to form from the production. And also, if possible, using the recycled material in the product. Second one is the input material changes. The material substitution using a less hazardous or toxic solvent for cleaning or as a coating. That means instead of using a more hazardous substance previously, now you change the material into a less hazardous material. Purchasing of raw material that are free of trace quantity of hazardous or toxic impurities. And also we can modify the equipment and processes that is used in the factory, changing the production process or flow of material through the processes. This will help to reduce the generation of air pollutants. And last but not least, the good operating practices, housekeeping, proper management, and also personal programs such as employee training. You need to provide knowledge and through the training to the workers on this, so that they can actually have a proper control in terms of cleaning themselves, staying away from the exposure, and also what they can do to reduce the exposure or the release of this air pollutant to themselves and also to their core workers that is working together. So all in all, I would like to say that air pollution is something that is an environmental issue that can be controlled by us, especially those who are originated from human activities. Those human activities that we are involved in, it can be managed either through a proper enforcement or through the change of using a better engineering control in terms of the processes. So, and also it is hoped that through this sharing session, I hope that the young people like the students that are here today, maybe you can put a little bit more attention in terms of the research which I have shared with you all just now, because air pollution, as I mentioned from the beginning of my presentation, Indonesia is one of the top 5 most, severely impacted by air pollution. So definitely it is a environmental issue that faced by not only the government, but generally to all the communities in Indonesia itself. If we ourselves don't do something to reduce or to limit the emission into the ambient air, then what is going to happen to our next generation and what is going to happen to our environment? So if every one of us can contribute in a way that by our human activities, by research, I would strongly encourage the young people like you all to get yourself involved in this and to create more awareness among government and also among the general public, especially in a lower income population where maybe education is limiting factors to them. They do not know the health impact so well like you all, but it is always through education and sharing of information we can help to create awareness among people. So with that, I thank you and I concluded my presentation here today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Veronica, for the interesting lecturings for today. So we come to the second session, sharing sessions. So for you that have any question or some question, you can put on the chat chat box, or you can interactively raise your hands if you have any question directly interactive with our guest lecture. Anybody? Let me check the chat box. No? Not yet? Anyone? Okay. I see. Maybe we start from the interactive first. I see Rico. Okay, Rico, you may?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Ma'am Justini, as moderator, and good morning, Professor Dr. Veronica.
Morning.
Okay, Professor Veronica, from your slide, I have learned that Indonesia have pollution challenge. So my question is, can you share with us how about Malaysia? How challenge air pollution in Malaysia? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. A good question. If you look at the ranking of this air pollution, Malaysia is not in the very far behind Indonesia. We do face the same issue. However, the source of air pollution is slightly different from Indonesia. As I said just now in my slide presentation, I have showed that I have shared with all of you that majority of the increase of air pollution lately that happened to Indonesia because of the forest cleaning activity. However, in Malaysia, our major air pollutants come from industrial activities and also motor vehicle as well. But what happened is that instead of looking at the ambient air, in Malaysia, currently there are quite a lot of researchers looking at indoor air pollution. They are focusing in indoor air pollution. Why is it indoor air pollution? It is because it is found that majority, everyone in the world, they spend maybe 2/3 of their lifetime or even 3/4 of their lifetime indoor rather than outdoor. Nowadays, people are staying indoor more than outdoor. So instead of looking at motor vehicle ambient air pollution, we are looking at pollution that originated from indoor. We study about the VOCs that is being released indoor. We also focus on a susceptible group, which is for younger children and also the elderly. Of course, when we talk about pollution, it's nothing to be very different because we are neighboring country. When Indonesia suffer from the haze, Malaysia are also suffering from the same thing. Maybe the intensity, the magnitude is not so bad, but we do face the same issue. So same goes to Malaysia. Our government has come up with different type of acts and regulation to regulate the emission of this air pollutant. However, it is still very much depending on the enforcement of the people and also how strict we want to be. When you put in the law and regulation, the act and regulation, you need enforcer go and check. Do we have the manpower to go and check on daily basis? Yes, we do have a Department of Environmental under our government, and we also have a Department of Occupational Safety and Health under Malaysian government, which are actually randomly doing spot check to all the industry around Malaysia. But recently, in the past 2 years, because of this pandemic, I think all this activity has been on hold. So that is a slight picture of how is the air pollution in Malaysia.
Okay. How is Rico?
Okay, thank you, Professor Veronica. I hope we all can overcome this problem together and be better and healthier country.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Rico, for the question. Next question, I see Teresia. Okay, Teresia, you may open your.
I'm sorry, ma'am, my symbol is error.
Okay, error. Okay. Another one.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. My name is Teresia Veronica. Good morning, Prof. Dr. Veronica, and good morning, Ma'am Justini.
Morning.
Morning.
I want to ask about how can air pollution countermeasures such as pollution occur in large factories that burn up useless residues to reduce environmental pollution but cause air pollution? Thank you, ma'am.
Teresia, can you repeat your question again?
It's not really clear. Tere, you may
Okay.
repeat.
How can air pollution countermeasures such as pollution occur in large factories that burn up useless residues to reduce environmental pollution but cause air pollution?
You mean that how this factory that generally produces a lot of air pollutant being controlled? Are you trying to ask the question? Is that what you meant?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Actually, yesterday I have shared my slide with Miss Anggun. Inside that first slides that I had shared, the first set of slides, actually at the end in the strategy, the last 4 slides, if I'm not mistaken, I have put in some engineering control inside the slides that I thought of I wanted to share with you. Actually, in a factory that are producing a large number of air pollutant, there are several ways of controlling it. One of it, of course, the first stage of pollution control is eliminate. If you can't eliminate, you substitute. If you can't substitute, the next thing we do is we apply engineering control. Engineering control is to reduce the emission of this air pollutant into the air. For example, it can be done through adsorption processes. Just to share with you, recently in Iceland, country in Iceland, what they have done to reduce this carbon monoxide production in the world, because as you know, the greenhouse effect, all this carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide causes greenhouse effect, which eventually causes a global warming issues that is faced by everyone. So what happened in Iceland is that they have built a factory, a huge factory. That factory is not producing anything to sell, but that factory are mainly used to absorb the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide that is generated. And inside the plant itself, they have this machine to convert the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide into a solid form. And eventually they bury this solid waste underground, under the factory. That is one of the extreme strategies from the people who are thinking of how can we reduce from factory activities, economic related activities. So they know asking the factory to reduce is not easy, because when you talk about reducing the air pollutants, you might need to upgrade your equipment, your machine, and it increases the cost of production. In this business world, they are always thinking how they can make more every day. So you tell them to increase the cost is definitely something that not something that they will consider. So the factory that I mentioned in Iceland, it is one of the steps that is taken actually by proactively converting the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Hopefully, it can slow down the global warming process that is happening to us. So again, regulation enforcement is very important. Periodic check on this industry that is producing a high amount of air pollutants into the environment should be checked, should be implemented periodically. And I think it depends on country. The fine on air pollution, people who are caught dispose more than what is allowed, the amount that they will fine maybe is a very small amount compared to the financial capability of a manufacturer. So I think maybe they should increase the fine and also impose a jail time to people who are responsible for this. That's something that we can do actually.
Okay. Tere, how is? Enough, I think, right? Okay, we have 2 questions from the chat box actually. From Nita Amelia. Okay, Nita, Nita, the question is, what can environmental health students like us do to prevent the air pollution? Okay, as the student, what we can do?
Okay, Nita, yes, Nita, Emilia. Okay, what we can do just now, in the slides that I share with all of you, we talk about research. Actually, if we focus on Indonesia, I think awareness among the community is very important. How do you want to tell them not to do open burning? Example like open burning, okay, in the rural area. What you do, you need to educate the people. So how do we educate? We need to advocate more activities, more awareness campaign among this targeted community to educate them the impact of this air pollution. That is something that maybe in your lectures activities, your community service activities, you can include this as one of your agenda, which is to create the awareness on air pollution and also respiratory health among general public in Indonesia. That's one of the things. Second thing that the students that can do is that to get yourself involved in the research that is related to air pollution, which just now I have shared with you all about 8 to 10 areas of focus for air pollution research. Those are the areas which those areas that is pointed out are actually area that is still lack of information, and maybe we need more research data for us to confirm on the exact which factor are contributing to what. So all in all, I would say awareness is very important. Create awareness among the general community is very important. And also, of course, charity start from home. If you want to reduce the pollution, you have to start from your own self, maybe from your own house. So what are the things that we can do? You should avoid using firewood burning for cooking. You should reduce the use of cleaning agent that generate aerosol into the environment. Then the paint that we use in the house, you can reduce or by using the paint that is reduce or totally zero VOC. So those are the things that you can do in a little way to contribute to this. And of course, sharing transportation, use more public transport.
Okay, there are many ways actually that we can do to prevent the air pollutions. Okay, there are the second ones from Malarama. So I just read the conclusion of the questions of Rama maybe. So Rama said there are one of the way is vehicle. So we can use the public transportation. But the problem is there are so many Indonesian people have private private vehicle. So that's why how to advocate in other someone or another one to can follow us to use public transportation. So
Okay.
that's how to advocate.
Okay, I think this issue that is raised by Mala Rama is quite similar to issue that is faced by Malaysia, where every one of us are so used to having our own vehicle going to travel from one point to another point in our daily life. And for the past 10-15 years, Malaysian government has been trying very hard to encourage people to share vehicles, which is sharing the carpool, a carpool to go to their workplace, carpool to go to anywhere that they wanted to. And our government, Malaysian government, also have spent a lot of money to invest in the development of public transport infrastructure. Recently, the one that is most recently done is our MRT, which linking from many places that those days it was not linked by public transport. That time when they proposed to have this project is that they're estimating in a year they can have how many people increase the number of using public transport and decrease the people going into a certain city area with using private transport. However, it is still I would say in the very infancy stage of the implementation of this project. This might be quite similar to Indonesia. I think what we can do is that I don't think it is a sacrifice for not using private transport. In fact, you are actually helping everyone, especially your loved one, by conserving the environment, by reducing the use of private vehicle and increase the public transport. It actually helped to improve the air quality in cities like in Jakarta, in Palembang, and so on. So what the least that we can do, if let's say people are thinking using public transport is difficult, another thing that we can do is that in certain area, like in the main city, instead of allowing the private car to come in, the private car should allow to up to a certain distance away from the city. And when the people want to enter into the city, they should use a public transport like buses to send them in. So in that city, which is a very highly polluted area, with the vehicles emission, it can be reduced by limiting the number of cars. So again, this link back to the first question that is asked by Nita just now, which how do we improve this? Again, it is the awareness. So instead of thinking sacrifice, it shouldn't be a sacrifice. It is a contribution by every one of us towards the environment, towards the country, towards the people that we love.
Okay, thank you very much, because the time is limited. Okay, and Prof. Veronica have another agenda that should be due. So I will come to the last. No more questions. So if you have any question, maybe you can contact with Prof. Veronica.
Yes.
Directly contact her. Okay, or you can share your email, Prof, to us. So if there anyone want to have a question or a sharing or discussion with you, can share with you directly by using email. Okay. Okay.
I will share my email in the chat forum there.
Okay. Yeah. You may share your email chat.
Yes.
Yes, we are so sorry. We now open the question again for the participants because the time is limited. Okay. We are still have one. Prof,
yes.
Can't you have answer the last question from Dr. Hermet Hamzah Hashim?
Oh, okay. The circulation, sorry, I'm reading, okay. MOA with send out weather control technology. Yes, okay. The question is?
Great collaboration research regarding the calculation.
We don't have this currently, but however, if let's say you are interested to have a collaboration in this, which you want to take a data in one more country location, which is in Malaysia, I'm happy and welcome research collaboration.
Okay. Okay, maybe we'll have more discussion with Prof. Veronica with Dr. Hamzah Hashim. Okay, thank you very much. I will not give the summarize for today because I think all the contents are important. So I was confused how to summarize the important content that the material that have delivered by our guest lecture. So the one that I noticed that air pollution get worse if there is no any intervention to address this issue and will be impact to human health. How to address it? We can start from pollution prevention is eliminating waste before they are generated, like regulation enforcement related to the standard of some air substance parameter. Another way, by source reduction through product changes, input materials changes, equipment and process modification, and good operating procedure. Everybody, this is the end of the second session. Thank you for your attention, and I would like to give it back to our Master of Ceremony, Valerie.
Hey, thank you so much, Ms. Yustini Ardila. All right. What a wonderful explanation from our incredible guest lecturer about air pollution and its connection to respiratory diseases, also ways to prevent the air pollution. Thank you so much for the very insightful and memorable session, Professor. I hope you're having a great time here. Yeah, thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you to Unsri as well.
Yeah. All right. Also, thank you so much to our amazing moderator, Miss Justini Adila, for moderating today's session. Thank you so much, Miss. Having a great time here.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Before we end this event, all participants may fill the attendance link. The link is available on your chat box. You can check it out. All right. The time has finally come to an end. With all respect, I thank you all for your participation for this event. We do hope this event gave you so many things to learn and hope to see you in another opportunity. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. See you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Dr. Farrell.
Thank you.
Dr. Farrell.
Bye. Thank you. Take care.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. For coming.
Welcome.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you for all the participants.
You may share the materials, Nadia. You may share the materials slide in the chat box, maybe, please.
Excuse me, Bu Anggun, can you repeat, please?
You may share the slide.
Oh, all right. Wait a minute.
Thank you for today. Izin lagi ya.